They say there's a place where silence isn't peaceful, it's alive. Deep in the forests of northern Canada lies a lake no one dares to visit after dark. The air there feels heavy, as if it's listening. No birds, no wind, no sound at all, just an endless quiet that swallows everything. Locals call it Silent Waters, and every few years someone new disappears beneath its surface, without a single scream. It's strange how the road remembers you when you try to forget it. Trees lean in over the windshield like they've been waiting. The asphalt turns to gravel, gravel to dirt, and the radio dies somewhere between the last gas station and the first wall of fog. I thought it would feel different coming back. I told myself I was stronger, but the closer I get to the water, the more I feel like I'm 12 again, small, breath held, trying not to make a sound. Pause. That's the first rule people don't understand about Silent Waters. You don't just learn to be quiet there, the quiet learns you. The map calls this place a wildlife reserve. Locals call it a mistake. The lake sits inside a ring of pines so tall they stitch the sky shut. Every path narrows to a single track that ends at a slab of rock, and then there's the water, flat as black glass, like somebody poured night into a bowl and forgot to pick it up. The wind doesn't cross it, birds avoid it, and sound goes missing. It doesn't echo, it just stops. Low ambient hum. I park where the dirt ends and the lichen begins. Old beer tabs, a melted tea light, a footprint fossilized in dried mud. Someone else was brave recently, or stupid. I kill the engine. The world exhales. Beneath the pine smell is something colder, like wet iron, like breath coming back up from a throat that never learned how to speak. People tell the story different ways. Some say a logging camp sank here in the 40s when the shoreline gave out like a trapdoor, burying men and their machines in a slurry of mud and timber. Others say a whole community of trappers disappeared winter of 43, and the ice didn't crack, it opened. I've read the newspapers, I've touched the archives. What bothers me are the margins, the small notes in pencil, a ranger's complaint about missing echoes, a priest's visit logged, but no sermon afterward. A woman insisting her husband drowned even though he never knew how to swim, and there were no ripples, no splashes, no sound. Pause, she wrote. He walked into silence and it kept him. The last time I was here, I was with 3 friends, Mara, Lucas and Ben. We were louder then. We were drinking too much sugar, daring each other to do stupid things, chasing courage, by yelling into the trees to hear our own echoes come back. Except they didn't. The night flattened our voices like a hand over a mouth. We thought it was hilarious until the generator quit at 2:17 a.m. Every cricket, every needle of pine, every wave, gone. It wasn't quiet like a church. It was quiet like a vacuum, like the world took a breath and forgot how to let it go. I still have Ben's last message, a video of the lake, black and featureless, and the shaky whisper, "Do you hear that?" There's nothing on the audio, nothing at all. He disappeared before sunrise. We found his footprints in a line toward the shoreline. They stopped at the edge like he'd stepped onto a mirror and never left a smudge. I tell myself I'm here for closure, but closure is a lie we tell to make doors out of holes. I'm here because 2 months ago, a metal box washed up 40 miles downstream, wedged in driftwood like the river was trying to hide it and failed. It was Ben's. We never brought a metal box. Inside were his knife, a sewn leather journal, and a single page that wasn't there when we knew him. It only said, "Silence wants a shape." Pause. The trail down is the same as in my memory. Roots like knuckles, rocks like teeth. My boots remember where to slip. I carry a lantern because flashlights feel wrong here. The flame looks honest, and I want something that flickers when the world tries to hold its breath. I pass the old ranger's notice nailed to a cedar. No camping after sunset. The letters are scratched, but the nails are new. Someone's still trying to protect people who won't read. When the lake appears, it's all at once. No gradual glimmer through branches. One step, and there it is, the black bowl, the sky doubled and darkened in it. My heart slows to match the water's pulse, lazy, heavy, like it's sinking with something underneath. I force myself to talk out loud, just to keep the air moving. "I'm not staying long," I say, and my voice sounds wrong, not hollow, thick. It's like the air has weight, and speech has to push through it. I set the lantern on the rock slab and pull out the journal we found in the metal box. Ben's handwriting stumbles, then steadies. Dates trail off into tallies. He describes a humming you can't hear, but you feel in your gums. He writes, "If you whisper the wrong thing, the water listens." He writes, "It collects." There's a sketch, lines like ripples, then lines like fingers. I close the book. The lake doesn't ripple. That's the worst part. If something moves under it, it moves without permission from the surface. A twig snaps behind me, and I spin with the lantern high. Nothing. A sapling, bent and trembling, straightens as if ashamed. The wind here is a lie. It doesn't touch the water, but it moves everything else. I breathe through my nose, slow and measured, and lay my palm on the rock. It's cool, it's steady. I anchor there, skin to stone. "Ben," I say softly, "if you came back, leave me something." The flame flickers like a reply or a joke. Twilight is where this place decides what to do with you. Day keeps you brave. Night keeps you small. The in-between is when the lake tries your name on and sees if it fits. The sky bruises purple. Clouds scab over the moon. I light a second candle and place it at the water's edge. The wick sputters, then steadies. Long pause. I count to 30. 30 becomes 60. The candle flame doesn't so much as nod. No breath touches it from the lake. And then, somewhere between the number I'm on and the number I want to reach, everything steps out of the room. It's not that sound gets quiet. It's that the idea of sound goes away. The candle is a photograph. The trees are a memory. The cold lands in my joints like a verdict. I've felt this once before, and my body remembers the instruction my mind won't admit. Don't move. Don't speak. Don't think too loudly. The black glass holds the sky like a throat holds a secret. I'm not alone. I can't hear it, but I can feel the outline of something where hearing should be, like a shape pressed into velvet. It's standing where ripples would be if ripples existed here. It's patient, it's curious, it knows my name. Pause. I do the worst possible thing. I whisper, "Ben?" My lips make the word. No sound comes out. The act is enough. The thing under the surface changes height, changes distance without changing place. The skin on my forearms prickles so hard it hurts. My lantern flame leans toward the water like it's listening, or like it's being listened to. When the generator died years ago, we panicked and laughed at the same time. It was easier to be idiots than children. We threw rocks at the lake to make a splash and prove it was real. The rocks went in. They sank, not a bubble, not a ring. It was like tossing stones into a photograph. Ben filmed it because disbelief wants witnesses. That's when something moved under the lens, a shadow beneath a shadow. We thought it was driftwood. He followed it along the shore until he was at the slab where I'm standing now. I told him to stop. He smiled, the kind of smile that isn't happiness but a dare, and said, "If I disappear, it means I was right." Pause. It turns out there are worse things than being right. The silence has weight now, not metaphorical, actual. It's in my throat, pressing down. I swallow and feel nothing move. My breath makes no noise. The candle's flame has a static rim, like a halo cut from a sheet of tin. Something gathers behind me, a depression in the air, a rearrangement of cold. I don't turn. Predators like turning. The journal cracks in my grip, spine dry, a faint flake of leather falling to my boot and hitting with no sound at all. My body begs to run. My bones remember a different rule. Everything that runs here runs inward. I open Ben's journal to the last page and see a line I didn't see before. Maybe the light. Maybe I refused. If you can't hear yourself, don't try to. There's a second line beneath it, in smaller letters. Take the water's breath away. I don't know what that means until I remember Mara last winter, pressing her palm to a window to stop the draft. Take its breath away. Take the lake's breath away. I kneel and slide the candle closer to the lip where rock meets water. The flame doesn't waver. The reflection doubles. One wick in the air, one in the skin of the lake, both real, both wrong. I put my hand over the live flame. Pain should make me shout. There's no sound. The fire licks, furious, and finds nothing to eat. I grit my teeth and lower my palm until it covers the flame completely. The wick dies. The reflection stays. The reflection stays. The shape in the shallows adjusts, curiosity sharpening. I pull the candle back. Its reflection doesn't follow. There is a wick under the water now that shouldn't be there. A small pinpoint of light that isn't light, that refuses to ripple, that belongs to a place where burning and drowning are the same verb. Ben's line clicks into place. Take the water's breath away. Take what it's trying to keep. I reach into the lake. Skin meets surface and there's no wet. It's like pressing against a cold window from the wrong side. My hand argues with reality. My wrist screams with a temperature that isn't temperature at all, but absence. I push through. The black skin parts without parting, and my fingers find not a wick, not a thing, but the idea of a thing. It's like grasping somebody else's intention. I close my hand anyway. For a heartbeat, the world tilts. The reflection jerks, and something enormous hardens beneath the surface. A spread of weight like a sleeper turning over in a bed you didn't know you were in. I yank my arm back. My sleeve is dry. My hand shakes. Between my fingers, I'm holding nothing. And something, the silence reels. For the first time since it fell, it falters. Sound doesn't return all at once. It peels back in layers, the wet scrape of my boot on lichen, the tin rattle of my lantern handle, a single experimental pop from my knuckles when I flex my fist. Then the pines whisper, and it isn't wind, it's the lake exhaling through the trees. I feel it as a complaint in my stomach. I didn't free anything. I stole a breath it thought was owed. Pause. The shape under the surface rises. I back up. The water doesn't bulge. It doesn't need to. The blackness thickens near shore like ink wants to be a wrist. The slab under my heels goes slick in a way stone doesn't. The journal flutters and the pages don't make a sound, but the ring binder snaps shut with a dry little tick so loud it sets my teeth on edge. Somewhere behind me, something knocks against a trunk. Once, twice, then stops, as if embarrassed to have made noise at all. "Ben," I say, but this time I don't whisper. I move my lips around the shape of his name and let my throat stay still. The lake prefers the idea. It presses closer with interest like a child at a keyhole. I extend my fist over the water and open it. Nothing falls. The breath I stole is not air. It's consent. It rests in my palm like a decision. I close my fingers again. The quiet bristles, one step back, another. The lantern's pool of light slides across the rock and then leaps as my heel finds the old cut in the slab, ankle deep. Bone memory of when men tried to anchor machines here and the ground refused. My balance tips forward toward the lake, and a wordless pressure rises off it. A welcome, a hunger, both. I catch myself on a knee and my palm slaps stone. The sound is tiny and honest. I've never loved a noise so much in my life. The lake hates it. It happens fast then. Not splashing, folding. The surface folds, the darkness deepens, and something long uncoils beneath without moving at all. My chest tightens like a fist is around it. The trees hiss with stolen breath, and the lantern dimples as if someone presses a thumb against the flame. The rock beneath my knee hums, a contact mic against a cathedral door. I lift the journal to my mouth and bite the leather. It's a stupid instinct. Teeth on something real, but it keeps me from opening my mouth. And that feels important. The thing at the edge decides not to take me yet, to fill me. It reaches without reaching. Cold pours into my ears like water, but isn't. My pulse gets quiet. My thoughts get dim, as if the lake is turning the volume down on the inside of my skull. Silence wants a shape. It's trying mine on. I do the only thing I can think to do. I make the loudest sound this place can't swallow. Not with my voice. My voice belongs to it now. With metal. I grab the lantern by the wire and hurl it hard at the slab 3 feet to my left. Glass explodes. Kerosene kisses rock. The flame deforms into a bright, ragged star, and the noise is wrong and gorgeous. The lake flinches. The quiet buckles like a knee. I'm on my feet without remembering the middle, and I run, not away exactly, but sideways along the shore, into the trees where sound can hide behind bark and needles. Branches slap my coat. My breath returns in animal gasps. The lake's presence keeps pace behind the trunks, always to my right, like a shadow you can't outrun, because it's pressed flat under glass. I don't look. Looking is how you give it your face. I count 12, 13, 20, until the path widens and the ground stops trying to trip me. The car sits pale between the trees like prey. The key fob chirps, and the chirp is weak, but it is sound, and I could cry for it. I don't slam the door. I shut it. I don't start the engine yet. I sit with my forehead against the steering wheel and test my name in a whisper. Nothing. The lake kept that. Fine. It can have it. I test a different word. No. It's small and sharp like a nail. It's enough. When I turn the key, the car coughs and then finds itself. Headlights paint a tunnel through the pines. In the rearview mirror between trunks, the slab shows a smear of flame, then darkness smoothing back over it like a hand. I put the car in gear. Tires grind gravel. A branch drags along the rear quarter panel with a squeal that makes the fillings in my teeth taste like batteries. Good. Take it. Take everything noisy. I'll buy new. At the bend where the road almost remembers being a road, someone steps out of the trees. A man, hat brim low, coat too clean for the place. Posture of someone listening for something he can't admit he wants. I hit the brakes so hard the belt bites my shoulder. He doesn't look at me. He looks past me toward the lake, head cocked like a dog. He raises one hand, palm out, not waving, warning. It takes an ugly second for my brain to find his face under the beard and the years. Lucas. Alive where he shouldn't be. Mouth opening, closing, no sound. He mimes writing, points at my passenger seat, points back toward the water, and shakes his head. No. I unlock the door on pure reflex. He doesn't get in. He presses something flat and cold against the glass. Metal. A box I've seen before, dented, river-scabbed. He mouths a word. Return. Then he's gone. Pulled backward into the trees by nothing at all, like a film jump cut missing frames. The box is on the seat where it shouldn't be. I don't watch it arrive. It's simply there, because the lake loves endings arranged like that. I drive. The road widens, the trees thin, and my rear view fills with a sensible night instead of a thesis on grief. 10 minutes later, the radio stutters back to life with a weather report and a song I hate. I turn it up until the speakers buzz like insects. I don't want to hear my thoughts. At home, the metal box takes up a portion of my kitchen table like a guest I didn't invite who won't take off his coat. The latch is simple. My hands are not. I open it. Inside, under the knife and the journal and a rag that smells like damp coin, there is a cassette tape. No label, just the wound of magnetic ribbon. I don't own a player anymore. Nobody does. I buy one the next morning from a store run by a man who collects old things and understands when people don't explain. I feed the tape into the mouth of the machine and set it on the table and press play. For a long time, there is nothing. Blank hiss like air inside a jar. Then a click. Then, if I turn the volume all the way up, if I put my ear near the grill and let the cheap heat of the motor touch my cheek, something less than a whisper. Not a voice. The space where a voice once was. It fits my kitchen too well. It fits my skull too well. Words that aren't words arrange themselves under my hearing like fish under ice. Come back. Long pause. I get up. I walk to the sink. I turn on the faucet and let the water run. The sound is bright and chaotic and alive, and it makes my hands shake with gratitude. I say the loudest word I know, the one the lake hates most. No. The tape clicks, stops. I eject it, lay it back in the box, lay the box in the darkest cabinet I own, and close the door. The quiet in my apartment is normal. I open a window just to hear the traffic bleed in. A siren far away, a dog, a neighbor setting down a heavy pan. I cry until the air tastes like tin. People will ask me if I'm going back. That's how stories work. They want circles. But some places aren't circles. They're sinks. They take what you drop and hand it back as something you can't set down. The lake doesn't want me to visit. It wants a shape. Mine, yours, anybody's. It wants to keep making the world quieter by turning people into rooms where nothing echoes. Pause. I'll mail the box to the ranger station with no return address. I'll leave a note that says, burn it, even though fire is an argument the lake refuses to have. If you find yourself driving north on a road that runs out, if you pass a sign with rules and think rules are for other people, if you come to a black bowl where the sky grows a second skin, do something hard. Make a sound, a real one. Drop your keys on rock. Sing badly. Tell a joke and laugh even if you're alone. If the sound doesn't come back, don't give it anything else. Turn around. Leave your best memories in the trees, not in the water. Because there are places where silence lives like a predator and breeds like an idea, and the only thing it fears is you remembering how to be louder than your fear. Pause. I won't go back. I'm saying that out loud. I'm saying it where the world can hear it and give it back to me. I'm saying it for Ben and for Lucas if he's still listening, and for the lake that keeps whatever it can pick up without making a sound. No. It started small, like an echo that didn't belong. The night after the tape, my apartment felt too calm. The hum of the fridge was gone. The pipes didn't groan. The city noise that usually leaked through my window, sirens, laughter, the occasional dog bark, was simply missing. At first, I thought it was late, that the city was tired, but the silence felt familiar, heavy, predatory. I stood in the middle of my living room, heart thudding, and realized I couldn't hear the clock ticking. The second hand was moving. I watched it slide forward without a sound. I turned on the TV. The image came, bright and normal, but no audio. Even the static hiss was gone. That's when I knew. The lake hadn't stayed behind. It had found a way here. Sleep became impossible. Every sound I made came out thinner, shorter, like the silence was biting pieces off before they reached the air. I tested it with my own name, just to see, and it didn't feel like mine anymore. My voice sounded distant, filtered, hollowed out. When I opened my mouth wider to speak, my breath frosted the air, even though the room was warm. The silence had temperature now, cold, curious, breathing where I should have been breathing. 3 nights later, I woke to dripping. Not from the faucet, those drops are sharp, predictable. This was slower, irregular, like something learning how to fall. I followed it through the apartment until I reached the hallway mirror. A puddle was forming beneath it, clear water spreading in a thin circle that reflected the dim yellow of the streetlight. I bent closer and saw that the glass wasn't fogged, but pulsing slightly, as if a thin layer of water was moving behind it. The dripping sound came from inside the mirror. I stepped back. The reflection didn't step with me. The man in the mirror, me but wrong, stayed closer to the glass. His lips were moving, no sound. I should have run, but the quiet pinned me in place. He raised his hand slowly and pointed down. My eyes followed. The puddle under the mirror was gone. In its place, a print of a bare foot, wet and dark, leading toward my bedroom. I whispered no, just to test if I still could. The reflection smiled, even though my own mouth didn't. I followed the prints, stupidly, like curiosity had taken the leash from fear. They stopped beside my bed, and at first, that made me feel better, like the presence had vanished into nothing. Then I saw the impression in the sheets, a weight pressing down where no one should have been. The air above it shimmered faintly like heat on asphalt. I reached out, maybe to touch it, maybe to prove it wasn't real. My hand sank an inch into freezing air, and the entire room exhaled without making a sound. The light bulb overhead flickered. The silence deepened. My ears popped like I was underwater. The smell of pine and wet iron flooded the room. The next morning, I called Lucas's old number. I don't know why. Habit, maybe. The line didn't ring. It breathed. Just one slow inhale, one slow exhale, and then a whisper. It's your turn. I dropped the phone. It didn't clatter. The sound never reached the floor. The silence was getting stronger, more confident. I tried leaving. I packed my car and drove south until I hit the highway. But the further I went, the quieter the world became. The radio's voice warped into static that wasn't static. It was the sound of nothing trying to imitate something. Even my tires against the road stopped humming. It was like driving through a photograph. When I finally stopped, the air was thick enough to taste. That's when I saw the water. Not a lake, at least not yet. Just a thin film of black liquid seeping across the asphalt, flowing from nowhere, following the car tires like it remembered me. I backed away, watching it spread wider, faster, drawn to the sound of my heartbeat. Every step I took backward made it advance, calm and deliberate, like a tide that knew the ending already. I shouted then, screamed as loud as I could, not for help, but to prove I still could. The sound came out wrong. Half of it vanished before it left my throat. The other half came back to me, twisted, slower, in someone else's voice. Ben. I drove home without remembering the drive. The silence rode shotgun, patient, steady. It didn't need to chase me anymore. It was inside the car, inside me. That night I decided to destroy the tape. I burned it in the sink until the ribbon curled and melted into tar. The smell filled the apartment, but there was no crackle, no flame noise, not even the hiss of melting plastic. The fire was silent too. I watched it die and realized it hadn't made a difference. The sound didn't belong to the tape. It belonged to me now. I started hearing the humming again, or maybe feeling it, in the back of my skull. The same one Ben wrote about, a frequency so low it didn't exist for ears, only bones. It pulsed when I blinked. It stopped when I thought about leaving. I recorded it one night, just to see if it was real. When I played it back, there was a voice under it. My own, layered with someone else's. It said, "The lake wants its breath back," so I decided to give it. I drove north again, the same route, through the same tunnel of trees. Every mile peeled away the noise of the world until it was just me and the hum. The sign for Silent Waters was gone. The road looked new, repaved, pretending the past had never existed. But when I turned the corner, the forest opened exactly as before, and there it was. The black bowl, perfect, waiting. The water was still. The air was heavier than memory. I parked, left the engine running, and stepped out. The hum in my head grew louder. No birds, no insects, just the shape of sound about to die. I walked to the slab. My reflection met me halfway, shimmering faintly on the water's skin. I thought of Ben, of Lucas, of the silence wanting a shape. Maybe that's all it ever wanted, people to hold its outline. I said my name once just to see if it would answer. The air didn't move. The hum became a heartbeat, then stopped. The lake exhaled. I exhaled with it. The world folded inward. If anyone finds this recording, burn it. Burn this story. Do not come here. Because the truth is simple. The lake doesn't want to be forgotten. It wants to be told. Every time someone listens, every time someone says the name, it remembers its way back. And when the silence comes for you, it won't sound like nothing. It will sound like everything you ever loved, holding its breath.